Today we are going to be talking about the simple portfolio that beats most investors, and that being a simple method, 90% S&P 500 and 10% enterprising. In that combination, you will be balanced and ready secure gains learn investing. So, in combination with the two, with the 90% in cash and majority S&P 500, you will be able to get through those initial learning curve and phase, right? That enterprising 10% amount, that will be where you become great in the long term. But initially, you will battle, right? You will learn, you will pay that due. So that enterprising amount is going to drag down your overall portfolio. But in the long term, that 10% will be your greater outlier. But that 90% initially and in the average, overall, long term, will carry you. So that's why this portfolio is superior. This is a portfolio that captures the best of both worlds. You're able to ride the market average, get the secure gains, and you're going to be enterprising as well. The combination of the two provide secure gains, learn investing. So, all that being said, yes, it's boring, right? It's going to be boring. With this amount, learn to be bored, right? Sitting on your hands is the greatest skill that most people cannot learn. Their action is the downfall of their investments, right? They're selling securities often, right? Just being under 1 year holding a security, then you have enormous tax deficits, right? You're already at a disadvantage because you have to pay tax dues when selling in under a year. After a year, you gain a tax advantage. You gain it compounding, right? And in that, in the S&P 500, for instance, think of all the companies in the S&P 500. 1 year, very few will double, right? 2 years, a few more. But the greater time goes on in the S&P 500, more instances of companies double. So over time, their odds of success are greater. Just like you. Odds of success go up over time. So, that being, stay the course. With that enterprising amount, that 10%, initially, you will be very challenged. And in downturns as well, even when you're a veteran investor, you're going to be challenged. You're going to feel panic and fear in the markets. That's why this 90% is so important. Secure gains, right? For the average person, and even for an experienced fund manager, the smartest thing for them to do to beat even 90% of professional investors is to invest in the market average. So the fact that you have 90% of your assets parked in a portfolio of majority market exposure with cash equivalents as 1/5, that automatically secures your gains. You're going to be ahead of so many people just by doing this, just by being boring and being disciplined. With that being said, you're going to learn a skill. Your odds of success go up over time in both. So, this is boring, disciplined, and is very effective long term. This is how the great investors and the regular people make a lot of money, right? The great investors, they can hold long term into a large winner. So for instance, some of their best investments have been over a long period. Although they're mainly enterprise investors, right? They can find opportunities and dollar cost average into them and hold that position for a long time, whether it be at least 12 months, right? So they gain a tax advantage. It's not income tax, it becomes capital gains tax. So just in that 12-month period of holding an asset, right? Advantages. Long-term hold advantages. So, in long-term holding, you have multiple advantages, right? You have a tax advantage. You have more odds statistically of catching a double. Even that on a triple, multiple quadruples over and over again. If you want to get a banger, right, so to speak, a multiple gainer, like 10x, 100x, even 1,000x, your chances of getting that in a short period are slim to none. A long-term hold increase odds of large gain. Of course, we talked about tax advantage. And additionally, and not leastly, long-term hold advantage brings a advantage in purchasing. Your price is going to be fair. You're not going to be overpaying because you're going to be patient. You're going to be hungry. You're going to be waiting for red in the markets, for downturns. And you know your long-term position that you're going to be in for more than 12 months, right? And you're going to be advantageous. Fair price is easier to acquire. So it's easier long term to acquire fair price in your assets when you're holding long term. So that is, in conclusion, the simple portfolio that beats most investors. This is a simple breakdown of what can secure your gains and help you learn investing. The combination of all that will allow you to beat most investors.